SoccerBallz.co.za.
There's a man called Clint Roper. He's the editor of Soccer Legion. I have great respect for him. But he's very much a Spaniard in his football views, very much looking down on English football because we haven't quite learnt the tiki-taka. We haven't learnt the possession football. I think Arsenal play it a little bit. But Clint, are you there?
Sí, señor.
Sí. Hasta la vista, baby. Adios. Listen, Clint, I don't want this to turn into a fight, and well, not for about 5 minutes, because despite the fact that you and I disagree a lot on English football and Spanish football, I actually think you're right, okay? I actually know that English football is not good. Too many foreigners in the English game for them to have a good national side, and too many sides in the Premier League that play Stoke City, West Brom style football. Well, the West Brom, maybe not. Long ball football, it's still a lot too much hit and hope in English football, and I have always, deep down, and I have to admit this, agreed with you on tiki-taka. Run me through how you felt over these two games, Spain losing 5-1 to the Netherlands and then 2-0 last night to Chile. How did it feel as an exponent of Spanish football?
Yeah, look, Carl, thanks for the call and thanks for having me on the show. I felt when we went into the World Cup that Spain as a team might struggle simply based on the fact that Barcelona have been coming unstuck with the tiki-taka in the last couple of months, certainly in the Liga and then in the Champions League. And the Spanish game is a lot closer to Barcelona than it is to Real Madrid, truth be told. I think Real Madrid is where Spanish football needs to evolve to get to the next level. I just don't know if they've got the kind of players that can make that happen. So that said, the players that are in that Spanish side have given us 6 years of wonderful football, but there needs to be some refreshing going on, and I don't think that the coach took that into consideration going into this World Cup. I think he thought the philosophy, the style of football would be good enough to triumph as it has. I think some crazy stat, like he's only lost 9 games in 86, and I think that breeds a certain sort of false positivity in your belief in your style. But I mean, the telltale signs were there, and I blame Gordon Ingerson, truth be told, because he showed the rest of the world how to beat Spain for the first time in a long time. Instead of sitting back, which was the default setting for most teams when they line up against Spain, let them have it and let's park a bus. Buffon got in their faces, pressed them high up at their own game, and with a bit of pace, you can expose them behind. Certainly, they don't have pace through the middle to play that high line that they do, that high line possession football that they do, and from there it's just gone from bad to worse. So yeah, it was always going to be a hard task. I didn't think 5-1 would be the result. I don't think anyone in the world thought 5-1 would be the result in that opening game. You've got the number 1 team in the world coming up against number 15. And I thought that Holland were at the same level in their cycle as Spain, in that they've got a lot of older players in there that need recycling. So I didn't expect that result, I'll be honest with you. Also, looking at that game, I thought that if Silva had stuck his one-on-one with the keeper away to make it 2-0 from 6 yards out, that could have been a very different game, because up until that point, Spain were bossing the game in that first half, I thought. But then fell apart very, very quickly. So yeah, it's a tough one. I did watch Chile play the second game after against Australia, and it was frightening to see them. For me, they're the Mike Tyson of this World Cup. Not only do they have quite technically gifted players, I think there are 4 or 5 of them that play in the Liga, so they are comfortable on the ball, but they have this hunger and this fighter in them that I've not seen in too many of the World Cup sides so far, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, they had a lot of hunger and fight when they were in South Africa and they played Spain in the, was it last 16 or quarterfinals? I can't remember. Was it Loftus? Maz, you were there.
No, group stage.
It was
Group
the group stage, because Spain had the bad start.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Okay. And they had the bad start against Switzerland there, but came back to beat Chile. And Chile had just had an earthquake. They had a flag from the earthquake at their camp.
Sure.
And they were full of fight, but they didn't quite have the technical know-how that they seemed to exhibit last night. Do you see Chile going far in this tournament? I had Chile and Colombia picked out as my dark horses, South American teams.
You know what? Everyone has said Belgium. And I'm, after watching Belgium off to a slow start and watching Chile, I'm going, this Chile are a dangerous, dangerous side. They've got pace up front. They've got the ability to play possession football with the best of them from what I've seen so far. But more than that, you can see it in the way that the players stand for their national anthem. The way that they puff their chests out, the way that they go into tackles, the way that they're getting back. Their players, when they're kicked, are not lying on the ground. They're getting up and they're wanting to be part of it. They're up for the fight. And that's a very, very dangerous quality in a team, especially a South American team, who clearly have got some support in the stands as well. It's a proud nation. So they, for me, are now the dark horses in this tournament.
Clint, I agree with you as always. No, I do like your analysis. Listen, I've got Mark Fish next to me. Mark and I have been talking about this World Cup being one of the, in the early stages, one of the best that we can remember. I do go back, Clint, I have to admit this too. I mean, I remember vaguely 66 when I lived in England, and then in 1970 watching on the BBC in England in black and white. That's how far I go back, Clint. So that's the only superiority over you I have. I'm older. But both you and Mark played at a good level. Marky, take us through what you think happened to Spain, why this thing is broken down, and see if Clint, as a Spanish aficionado, agrees. What's gone wrong?
Well, Clint is obviously a very educated man in football. Clint, we actually played this at schools together,
yeah,
so that's
exactly.
But is it? Do you think that the demise of Spanish football has a lot got to do with the demise of Barcelona? Yes, Real Madrid went on to win the Champions League, but Barcelona. The style of football is obviously very mirrored in the way the Spanish play.
Yeah, of course.
So,
of course.
No.
Yeah. Look, basically, I think what's happened, Mark, to a large extent, is I don't think bringing in Diego Costa helped the Spanish cause, because the two Spanish sides that did get to the European Champions League final play a more direct style than what Spain do, and I think it mixed up the philosophies a little bit. He's not the quickest player in the world. He's a player where you get the ball wide, you get the crosses in the box, and he's very dangerous in the box, which is why I think he might do okay at Chelsea. But certainly, I don't think he was the right fit for Spain. I can't understand why a guy like Villa, who did fantastically well this season, who's probably, yes, he's maybe past it, but in terms of that tick-attack kind of approach, I think he would have been the perfect man to possibly stick up front and protect that ball a bit more and not look for the ball in behind players the whole time. And then you've got a young player like Isco, who I can't understand. He was a star at the under-21 European Championships. I can't understand why he didn't form part of this team at this stage. So yeah, there are a lot of factors, but tiki-taka is certainly, if there's a fault, it's that there's no end game at the moment. It's a fantastic weapon to have in your arsenal if you're a couple of goals up. But until you get a couple of goals up, it seems like there's no way to pierce teams right now, especially teams who are very well organised.
That's a great analysis of it, mate. No one argues that the playing possession football, and after all tiki-taka is something a Spanish commentator said when they were popping the ball around. And like you say, when you're on top, that's what you do. But I look at Arsenal sometimes, the only vague exponents of this style in English football, and they never seem to come up with the shot. Although, ironically, I thought Santi Cazorla was the only guy that showed any real fight at the end. And what disappointed me most, Clint, and see what you think of this, is that it just feels that they didn't get urgent, they didn't get nasty at the end. They were going out of the World Cup and they just slipped away.
No, I agree with you. There was very little fight in them, and possibly that's where you've got to take your hats off to a team like England, because they will not go out without a fight. You will see players flying into tackles. You'll see players swearing at each other and the ref, and that doesn't seem to exist in Spain. I'm not sure if that's their nature, their culture. But certainly they didn't seem up for it. They went out with a whimper, truth be told, and that was disappointing.
Mate, the last question I have for you, mate, is there's a side playing tonight close to my heart. England have got Uruguay. Uruguay very poor in their first game. England, I don't think were as poor. I think it was a good game against Italy. Uruguay beaten by Costa Rica shockingly in their opening game. Is there any chance for England, given the paucity of their squad and their football?
Look, like I said, the three Lions, they'll pull together and they'll be up for this. I think they feel I think I saw it was Lampard who came out in defence of Rooney and saying there's this media campaign against Rooney at the moment, which is putting unfair pressure on. I think Rooney will react in the right way, and I think that team will pull together. The great thing about this English side is they've got some kind of fluidity about them. They've got pace out wide. They've got ways to change the game. Spain couldn't change the game. All they could do was swap like for like and continue doing the same thing. Whereas I think England have got the players to come in and either try and hold the ball and get the ball in behind, or if it requires players to roll up their sleeves and kick people up in the air, they can do that as well. I'm not sure what the status of Suarez is. I think he's been scoring goals for fun in the EPL, and so certainly no English defender is going to pose too much threat to him should he get the ball. The Uruguay team, I mean, who would have guessed Costa Rica doing that to Uruguay? Anyone,
Nobody.
In the world who says they know what's going to happen tonight doesn't have a clue. It could go 4-5-1 to England before you know it, or it could go the other way.
I'd like that, mate.
Certainly wherever England's involved, I do think there's a chance.
No, definitely.
Good.
So, Clint, who's going to win?
I'm going to say Uruguay. I'm going to say 3-1 Uruguay. But like I said, I'd be a fool to bet my life on that because it could go either way.
Jeez, how's that for winding you up? Neal, I
listen,
definitely
I
thought he
agree.
was going to go England the way he spoke there, but he wound you up, made you feel so good about yourself and went, well, Uruguay's going to win 3-1.
I'm just twitching that now. Clint, brilliant. As always, great to talk to you. Great to read Soccer Laduma every week. I do get my Soccer Laduma every week. We'll speak to you again during the World Cup, mate. Let's see what happens.
Fantastic. Collie, Mark, great chatting to you guys.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
So,
There we go. To wrap it up, breaking news. According to the Twitter, FIFA are investigating allegations that Bafana sneaked into Brazil and played as Spain against Holland and Chile.
yes, thank you very
That's
much,
it.
Comfort.
Balls.co.za